There we go. Good evening, friends. It's Thursday. No, it's not. It's Monday. Sorry, I almost forgot. Oh, let's see. Nice guided meditation. I hope everyone's having a good start to the week. It's so strange. I was off from work last week, and it was just it's semi-vacation week. And then now it feels like work Monday, Tuesday. What day is it? And it reminds me of when I was ordained. Then I had no idea what day it was. If it was a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it just didn't make any difference. Sometimes I missed Christmas. I missed my own birthday. And you just kind of stop thinking about those things because they're not as important. Hey, Mats, nice to see you. JVB, nice to see you as well. Stephen, yes. Yeah, I always try to make it. It's rare that I don't make it. And Jack, nice to see you as well. I have a bit of a Andreas. I read it. Are you new or have I seen you before? I'm trying to see if I usually remember most people's names. I was saying, I have a bit of a cold, so we'll see how it goes with the guided meditation. Maybe I'll talk a little bit less than normally. That's good. Like, you just get to meditate a bit more by yourselves. Take some honey and some tea. I've been looking forward to this all day. It's been a long day, and then I get to sit with everyone and just meditate and say that I'm working. I mean, it's nice. Second time, yes, I thought I recognized it, but I wasn't quite sure if I'd seen you before. Nice. Has everyone had a good weekend? Some nice meditation? Last Thursday we had some really nice discussions. I thoroughly enjoyed that. It really helps when people ask all these questions and philosophies and ideas, and then it gets me to kind of think of what do I actually want to say, and I think it was quite clear. Just going to turn on air conditioning. I just listened to a guy who has a YouTube channel whom I really enjoy, who he's talking a lot about the philosophy behind everything, and I just don't talk about those stuff. And there's so many good people out there whom you can listen to if you want to go into, like, does karma exist? Is it from this lifetime, all lifetimes? How does it work? And it's kind of, it was so interesting to hear his video on it, and how, for me, there is so much self in that, because I am important. So since I am important, it's important to figure out how karma works. It's important to figure out how past life, future life, how all of that hangs together, because I am important. So it seems to me that those kind of inquiries just create more sense of self. And I completely get it. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad or anything. If you want to remove the sense of self, then those things don't really make any difference. JVB is asking, is anyone watching the UEFA Euro Championship? Oh, nice. I have no idea. Is that soccer? I think it is, right? It's always such a pleasure to watch the soccer, you're saying, Jack? I'm hoping you mean to come and meditate together, because it is. I really enjoy it. There's an even bigger delay today, I think, because the internet seems to be... Last time I had some problems with the connection, so I put it on extra delay to be sure that we don't drop out. It always makes it strange, because I say something and then it takes like 20 seconds or 15 seconds before you see it, and it's like communicating with Morse code. Yes, nice, Jack. Yeah, it's nice. It's like we have our regular group and we meet. I see Jack is saying, will you encourage your children to take themselves on road with the teachings of the Buddha as you did? I'll encourage them to explore themselves and not say that they need to do it through the Buddha. I mean, I really enjoy Buddhism. I think it's a great philosophy, and there's so much good stuff in there, so I most definitely won't stop them. But I'll also let them explore themselves. When I was a child, I was really spiritually interested, but my father was a die-hard atheist. He thought that all the problems in the world is because of religion. That's basically his belief. He really didn't like religion, especially the church, since he grew up in Sweden, where there was it was a Christian school he went to. So when I was a child, I wanted to to go to these like kids stuff that the church created, and they got to do puzzle, like you cut and like make drawings and stuff, but I was never allowed to go, and I was always curious. So I'm not going to stop my children from wanting to explore. What I am grateful because of my father is that since he was so against it, it made me question. I mean, that I could never ever accept a religion just on belief, because then I always come to the problem that they say this, they say this, they say that, and they say something else. So I'll always have a conflict if I want to accept just in belief. So that's the good part that I took with it. But yeah, I'll absolutely encourage them to look into Buddhism, because I think there's so much good stuff in there. And there's many other religions that has that too. Stephen is saying it is the self-awareness that overrides the sense of self. Self-awareness. You could still have a very strong sense of self, even though you had absolute self-awareness. I would say that they don't. I think self-awareness helps to override the sense of self, is what I would say, Stephen. But definitely you can have loads of self-awareness and still have a huge sense of self. I mean, I most certainly have lots of self-awareness, but I also have a sense of self that keeps coming up. And like, especially when this last month has been, oh my goodness, it's been so difficult financially, health-wise, relationship, everything has just been in turmoil the last month for me. Is it a month? A little bit more than a month. We're talking like really upheaval, the worst I've had in a long time. And instead of trying to figure out, oh, it needs to be this or that way, I just try to be okay with whatever it is, even if it means that I am really irritated and not working. And I take a step back and just accept that I feel like shit and I'm a bad person right now. And then I'll do my best, being a bad person, to not hurt other people. I mean, obviously I would never physically hurt anyone, but to not lash out at people, because sometimes everyone has a bad day. I rarely do, but like I said, last month and a half, it's been very tough. It's been really, really tough. JVB saying, yes, it's soccer. I guess you know much of. I never played soccer. When I was a child, I don't know. It was. I liked sprinting. That's what I enjoyed when I was a kid, running really fast. But soccer never really caught my attention. And Andreas is saying, "Did you say you're from Sweden?" Yes, I am. Are you also? Is it Andreas, or is it something else? I mean, Andreas would be the Swedish pronunciation. By the way, we're getting ready to start the meditation. For those of you who are new, what we do is we talk a little bit for about 10 minutes. I'm going to change the intro because I think it says 5 minutes. But there's always so much fun connecting with people that it never ends at 5 minutes. And then we sit together for 20 minutes. Today is Monday, so we do a guided meditation. It's a very simple that anyone can follow along, but also there's so much depth to it. So like, it doesn't matter if you meditated for decades, you'll still get something good from it. And then afterwards, it's open for questions and answers if anyone has them, which they usually tend to do, which I really enjoy. Nice. Cool. Yeah, another Swede here. The more I travel, I mean, I've traveled a lot. I've probably been to, I don't know, 30 countries, maybe even more. Now 30? Yeah, at least. Must have been. And I can say that when I was younger, I just wanted to get away from Sweden. But the older I get, the more I realize that Sweden is a really amazing country in so many ways. It's like we are so privileged to live here. Like, it's just incredible on so many levels. So I can highly recommend Sweden to anyone who wants to come and visit. So let's see. I'm just going to turn off my phone. If you have phones, I recommend you turn them off. I use it for the timer though, but I'll turn it off. See, here we go. And we'll start with the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, which is we'll say 5 things out aloud that we can see, 4 things that we can hear, 4 things that we can touch, 3 things that we can hear, 2 things we can smell, and 1 thing that we can taste. And then after that, we'll start the meditation. So, football, we are not into in the US. Football and soccer is different. So, 5 things, we say them out aloud. If you can, try to say them out aloud, because it's not about seeing 5 things, it's about stopping and coming to your senses and really looking. There's a saying, in the seen is only the seen, in the heard is only the heard, meaning we're not trying to interpret, we're just trying to see shapes, angles, lights, reflections, surfaces. We're just trying to see what is there without putting in ourselves into saying, oh, I feel what that is. That is like a camera boom arm, and I have a feeling of what that costs. I have a feeling if it's dangerous. I have a feeling of what it would feel if I touched it. We're trying to let go of all of that and just say 5 things we see. And I see a boom arm to a camera stand. I see a thermos. I see a honey jar. And I see a electrical outlet. And I see a office chair. I'm not sure if that was 4 or 5, so let's do one more. I see a lamp. And then we take 4 things that we can touch. And if you're in a place where you can't speak, then obviously just say it to yourself. Otherwise, try saying it out quietly to yourself. So I can touch the hairs on my arm. I can feel the sweat on my neck. And I can touch this mouse mat here. And I can touch the wood on this baton that I ring the bell with. Then we say 3 things that we can hear. I can hear the air conditioner. I can hear the beep from the air conditioner. I can hear the cooing of our hens in the garden. So those are 3 things that we could hear. And the lower down we go, the more you need to focus to actually be aware of these senses, because they're more difficult to notice. So we'll do 2 things that we can smell. I just smelled rooibos from my rooibos tea. I can smell furniture that had sun on it. That smell that comes from sun hitting the fabric. Lastly, we do 1 thing that we can taste. I can taste the honey in the tea that I just drank. If you haven't already, put yourself in a comfortable position. Preferably you'd be sitting down, but it's also perfectly fine to lie down, stand up, or you could even be walking if you feel so. It's nice if you keep your eyes closed, but it's also perfectly fine to keep them open if that makes you feel more comfortable. Just be sure that you're safe if you close your eyes. The meditation that we'll do is that we'll focus on our breath. So start by bringing your awareness back to your breath. Just feel what it feels like when breath is happening in your upper torso area. You don't need to feel any specific sensations. It's more awareness of breath taking place. We're not looking for any special sensations. We're not trying to make anything happen. Instead, we're just being aware of breath happening inside of us. For the next 20 minutes, you will be sitting down or standing up or lying down or however you're meditating. And there might be thoughts about what happened before you sat down or what will happen later or tomorrow. But ask yourself if it's okay that just for now, you would stay here, now, not analyzing, not judging, not thinking about problems or philosophy or anything else. Just ask yourself if it's okay to spend these next 20 minutes just observing your breath to see what you find out. To make this easier, we will do an exercise where we count from 1 to 8 and then down again from 8 to 1. And we'll do this together. First I will count once with you, and then after that you can continue counting by yourself. So together we'll breathe in and breathe out. 1. Breathing in and breathing out. 2. Breathing in and breathing out. 3. Breathing in and breathing out. 5. Breathing in and breathing out. 6. Breathing in and breathing out. 7. Breathing in and breathing out. 8. Breathing in and breathing out. 7. Breathing in and breathing out. 6. Breathing in and breathing out. 5. Breathing in and breathing out. 4. Breathing in and breathing out. 3. Breathing in and breathing out. 2. Breathing in and breathing out. 1. Now just keep on counting by yourself from 1 to 8 and then down from 8 to 1 as you breathe in and breathe out. 1. Breathing in and breathing out. In this style of meditation, we're not trying to control the breath. We're not trying to actively calm ourselves down by slowing down our breath. Nor are we trying to speed ourselves up by breathing in a particular rhythm or speed. Instead, what we're trying to do is something completely different. We're trying to step away, to step to the side and see what your breath does when you sit down, when you observe it. This will change. Sometimes you'll sit and the breath will be fast. It will be deep. Other times it will be shallow and it will be slower. Sometimes you might not barely notice the breath at all because it's so tiny. You might even have panic because you're wondering, how on earth can I be getting oxygen if I'm not breathing more than this? But ultimately, we're just trying to observe the breath and let it do what it wants to. So when I do the counting and I breathe in and breathe out, that's actually misleading because it's not how you're supposed to breathe. I simply do that to emphasize when I am breathing in and when I am breathing out. So as you continue observing your breath, see what it does and see if it changes throughout the session as you breathe in and breathe out. 1. Breathe in and breathe out. It's easy to bring a lot of judgment, criticism, need, wants, desires, and sense of failure into the meditation. You might believe that you should be experiencing something different than you're experiencing. Maybe you're looking for lights, sounds, outworldly experiences. Or maybe you just want your mind to calm down. Just be quiet. And it seems like no matter what you do, it's not working. So you feel like you failed. You feel like maybe this whole meditation thing is not really my thing after all. This is a common thing to experience. And realize that the only way that you can actually fail, and ultimately you can't actually fail in doing this, is by giving up. The more you criticize, the more you judge, the more you think you should be experiencing something other than what you are experiencing, the more you're making it difficult for yourself to be aware of what's happening now. And the solution is so simple, it's actually so easy, that most people don't really want to believe it. Instead, you want it to be that you need to be in the powerful presence of some master or some spiritual teacher who will give you awareness. But it all comes from within. It might be easier in certain environments and together with certain people who help you calm down, be more aware. Just notice your senses by talking a certain way. And the way that you solve it, which is so easy, is that you keep coming back to your object of meditation over and over and over again as you drift off into thoughts, as you get caught up in fantasies, as you philosophize, as you come up with answers. Even if you've done it for 5 seconds, 50 seconds, 5 minutes or 50 minutes, just once come back to your breath again and start observing without judgment, without feeling that you failed because you actually succeeded now that you become aware. As you're breathing in and breathing out. 1. Breathing in, breathing out. Observe your breath now and compare it to when you started. Is it deeper? Is it more shallow? Faster? Slower? Just notice how your breath has changed. And stay aware as you're breathing in and breathing out. 1. Breathing in, breathing out. If you want to, you can keep on sitting, or you're free to drink some tea with me, ask some questions, and have a discussion. And like I normally say, this is not a satsang where I sit and dish out truth and holy scripture. This is a conversation, and we can have different opinions and discussions, and that's usually when the really good stuff comes out. I saw you write something about Zoom just when we started, Jack. Was that the camera moving or something? Wow, there is a really long delay. I just saw myself say the stuff I did before, and there's like 20 seconds in between. So yeah, you guys write something and we'll have a conversation, but it will be delayed. Hey Mindful Mama, nice to see you. Jack, where have the journey take thou recently? If journey you mean the inner journey, then recently it's been a lot of really deeply seated parts of myself that comes out, that gets angry, that gets fearful, that is worried. We all have these core things that kind of tend to branch out and disturb our lives. So we have insecurities in certain ways, or you have fears of certain things, or you have a need for reality to be a certain way. And then that triggers other stuff that comes out from these fears and insecurities. So lately I had to deal with a lot of, like I said, physical problems. But I'm quite okay with that, because I've had so much physical stuff happen to me that it's quite okay. For me, it's more difficult when things don't go according to plan and I need something to happen a certain way. I believe I need something to happen a certain way. And that's easy to say in the sense that I obviously know that I'm going to die anyway, so ultimately it doesn't matter what really happens. But still, there's a family and there's people living around me, and we need to function as a family, and that means that we need to have food on the table and we need to have certain things working a certain way. And when that doesn't work out the way you want it to, then that's tough. And it affects people differently. My brother is absolutely amazing. He earns a lot of money, but he's also really good at spending money. But he doesn't feel bad about it. He just spends it and he's okay. Whereas I would like, oh my goodness, I can't spend that much money on something. And that's really, it sounds, I'm not making fun of him. I'm really jealous of him. Obviously, if I would live that way, I'd be bankrupt. But there is something really nice about not having that worry about money in that way. It's not really that I worry. It's there's just a lot of stuff attached to meeting financial needs. So yeah, that's where my journey has been taking me recently. How far have you gone on the path to enlightenment? That could be answered in so many different ways. Smoke beer the perp. Oh, I like that one. Smoke beer. Just find you. Nice to be here. How do you practice in your everyday? Oh, nice question. And nice to have you here. Smoke bear the perp. Smokey the bear. Isn't that some old TV show or something? I recognize it. How do I practice in every day? So basically, I'm very simplistic in my way of approaching practice. It's all about being okay with being here. If you look throughout the day, you're going to notice that you keep moving to different places and doing different things, and that's fine. But there's usually a sense of uncomfortableness that pulls you there. So I try to soothe this uncomfortableness. I try to look at it and realize that that's a pretty silly thing to do. I can just do the thing without feeling bad. If my children yell and scream and make noise and throw stuff on the table and floor and everywhere, I'm still going to have to clean it up. And I have to tell them, okay, you can't do that. But that doesn't mean I have to do it through anger or through a feeling of like I'm a bad parent. Instead, I can just tell them, kids, now it's enough. Now we're going to clean up, and we go to bed. And they say, no, I don't want to. And they're going to start fighting. So I look at how I react towards things more than how things usually turn out. And when I have challenges, it turns around. Then I'm more focused on the outside world than how I relate. So that's usually a good sign of how I'm feeling. Most of the time, I'm more focused and able to be aware of what I'm feeling towards things than I'm focused on actually making reality happen around me. Yeah, that's how I practice in everyday life. Catherine. Hi, Catherine. Nice to have you here. Hello. Thanks for doing these live sessions. I am learning a lot from you. Do you keep the Venerable Pra title? No. Pra is that Thai? I think that's from Thailand when they had a Pra. I don't have that. And also I disrobed, so I don't have a title as a Buddhist monk anymore. Stephen, I find that I react on autopilot a lot. Exactly. Well done, Stephen. That's the first step. Like if we would have been in an AA meeting, I say like, everyone applaud to Stephen. Good job, Stephen. I am an alcoholic and I have a problem. I'm on autopilot and I have a problem. That's the whole thing. Like first, we're not even aware of it. People just react and they go into a situation, then bam, they react. Oh, it has to be this way. And you start reacting and fighting and all this stuff happens and you're not even aware of it. The problem becomes when you then become aware of it, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm such a failure. I can't do this. I know this. I don't want to do this. And yet I can't stop myself. Why is this so hard? And that's natural. And that's just kind of how this whole practice goes. So good. That's basically what it's about. And that's why some people, when they start practicing, can actually start feeling worse. Because before they were just doing all these reactions, like, oh, that's okay. But now they start questioning how they're reacting to their kids, to their family, to their spouse, to their colleagues. And like, I don't want to react like that, but I can't stop myself. Why not? That's a good place to start practicing. Mats is saying, I really enjoyed today's meditation. I realized that my mind is a sense input, like smell in a way. It felt like the annoying thoughts came from the outside, like an itch. Any thoughts on that? Yes. So in Buddhism, they actually view, and I agree with this, I don't talk a lot of Buddhist scripture, but I really agree that the mind is considered the sixth sense. So if I do this, like really hard, and I stop, I can still feel like there's a stinging, like on my arm. There's like a tingling feeling. It's not actually unpleasant, but it's agitated, right? Because I've been smacking my arm. Now the mind works the same way. If you watch a lot of porn, a lot of violence, and you partake in like going on the internet and chatting with people, the trolls, like don't do that, don't do that. And you read the news, and then you sit down and you're going to go to bed, and you're like, what? My mind is just... because you've been bombarding your mind. Just the same way, it's going to keep spitting these things out. That's why when you sit down, you keep coming back over and over and over again. Actually, you come back here to your breath, because that breaks this cycle. Every time you're like, okay. And so you're basically doing this with all the inputs your mind is taking. And then you're like, okay, come back to my breath, and then you stop. And then you start again. Okay, wait, I'm coming back. And you keep doing that. And then, oh, wait, I was going to hit my arm. Okay, I'm just going to be here. So eventually you develop what's called stickiness of the mind, which is that the breath, the awareness just sticks with the breath by itself. So that's a good observation. That's absolutely true in my experience. Mindful Mama. Stephen, do you know the 4 stages of competence? No. Do you have any, as if Mindful Mama... I'll read hers later. I'll jump to that one and take Andreas later. It's what Martin is basically saying. First stage is unaware incompetence. Second is aware incompetent, where you are in now. Next, you'll notice more often how you're aware competent. Okay, so it's the 4 stages of knowledge or competence. I'm not sure what it's called. So it's basically first you're unaware that you're incompetent, and you go out and you let's say you're gonna... I was going to say pick up a girl, but that only applies to half of you, or I don't know how many. Or let's say you're going to talk to the opposite sex, and you go out and you've never done that before, and you go and you talk to someone, and you talk because you're interested in them. And you go and talk, you're like, you just make a fool of yourself. You had no idea that you're so bad. So you go up and you're like, hey, what's cooking? Good looking. Oh, it must hurt because you fell from the sky, and like you don't realize how bad you are at talking to the opposite sex. So then you're unaware incompetent, and then you become aware that you're incompetent. You're like, oh my goodness, I suck at this stuff. Like everyone just keep telling me I'm an idiot because you suck at it and you don't know how it works. And then the third stage is that then you understand, okay, it's just normal people. If it's a girl or a boy or a man or a woman, they're just people, and you can talk to them normally. You don't need to make a fool of yourself. They're actually interested in having connection with other people, not being picked up like with some pickup lines. I'm just making really weird examples here. I hope you get what I'm saying. And then you're aware that you're like, okay, I can now talk, but I have to be aware of it. So you're aware, I'm good at talking, but I have to be aware of it. And then the last stage is that you're not aware that you're good at it. You're just talking to people randomly. You're not even trying to pick people up. It's just so natural to talk to the opposite sex, and it's like you don't want anything from them. You just do it naturally. You talk to the... Did I just mess that one up completely? Mindful Mama, I'm sorry. You're a woman, so I hope you didn't take that the wrong way. And I hope everyone understood what I was trying to say. Andreas is saying, do you have any good tips or exercises to alleviate self-doubt? I'm quite hard on myself and doubt when I'm going to do certain challenges. So what I said when, let me just see who asked me that. That was Smoke Bear the Perp. When he asked how I practice in daily life, I think he was the one who asked it. Yes. What I do is I don't if I were you and I wanted to alleviate my self-doubt, I would not focus on what you're trying to do. I would focus on the self-doubt, meaning the distortion, the discomfort, that pressure between how you want reality to be, your desires, and reality. This stuff happening here, that's the self-doubt. I would focus on that and then just do whatever it is you're trying to do. Say you're trying to learn to play the guitar, and you have all this self-doubt and worry, and you're like trying to get good, and you like think it's important that you get good, but shift the focus from think you need to get good at playing the guitar to I need to be okay with whatever's happening, this distortion, and just look at that. So instead of having the focus on the guitar, I'd have the focus on the distortion. That's basically how I do my everyday practice all the time, like 24/7 all the time. And then sometimes when it fails, that's when I focus more on the outside, because I believe I need to get it that way. And that's usually when I feel bad. Let's see. What is competent? Competent means that you're good at doing a specific skill, task, something like a blacksmith, or knowledge in talking to the opposite sex. Jack is saying, by enlightenment I mean, how do you feel with the self you made in recent years? It's difficult to even imagine what it was like before. I mean, if I would be... Yeah, it's a huge difference. Not what I thought it would be that way. It's very different. But yeah, there is a huge difference in how strongly I feel I am here. One of the most obvious differences is that when you look at something, there's a feeling that I am here and vision is going there. So there's a perspective. You feel like you're watching here to there. I can't feel that. I can't feel like I'm watching there. It's more like everything is just plastered on my eyelids. So there feels like there's very little distance. I can sometimes feel... So 3D vision is actually a distortion. When I'm really in like non-distorted, non-centric states or non-duality, you can't... at least I don't feel 3D vision, because that's a sense of like, okay, I see the camera and I can feel, I know that there's something behind the camera. But right now I don't see the camera like that. It's more like it's just there. It's just like you could have painted it in the... I don't have a feeling of what's behind. So there's a huge difference in the sense of self, and you have no idea how pleasant it is to not have that constantly pushing around you, because that's distorting, that's making you feel uncomfortable all the time, feeling, okay, this could fall down, but I feel safe, and this does this, and I feel safe, and this feels this way, and I feel like that. You have all these things that are creating the sense of self, and when that drops away, it's just stuff, things, shapes, angles. Like I said, when we do the looking, we look at texture, we look at color, reflections, we look at what does the surface look like, and not even colors as in a name to them, just things like states of matter. Fun stuff to talk about. Mindful Mama is saying competent is being able to... Yes, it's a good explanation. JVB, I'm sometimes surrounded by people who are too nihilistic. They're so good at being nihilistic that they are so eloquent with nihilistic terms that they sometimes convince me into thinking like them. Yeah, you have that a lot with, people who talk science. No, sorry, I'm not going to bash on scientists, but people who are really into knowledge and who are so uncertain. Maybe that's actually a different thing, but people who talk so much with like special terms that you don't understand because that makes them feel important. And the absolute ultimate example of this is someone called Jordan Peterson, who I used to really think had a lot of good stuff to say until I actually listened to what he said. I'm like, what the... He just spews out a lot of words and terms, and I can't just say yes or no, and like it's just so complicated. And that's someone who does similar stuff to that. Or was that a question, JVP? I'm not sure. How could I mitigate such cynicism? Okay, good. Mitigate. I'm again so simple-minded in my practice that I just focus on how I'm feeling. Instead of trying to convince them otherwise or trying to make them do something, I just focus on how do I feel. So when they do that, just focus on how you feel when they behave that way, and then make that more important than their behavior. And if you feel that it's hurting you, or if it's making your life worse and they're actually like damaging you, then just walk away. Don't stay with them. I know that's difficult when it's family, but really if someone is hurting you like that and is making your life terrible, then you should actually walk away and have a discussion about it. So my answer to pretty much everything is just focus on how you're relating to it more than the outside circumstance. But, a big but, I have a big but. Don't let that just mean that you don't care about life, that you don't go to your job, you don't talk to your spouse, you don't take care of your kid. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying keep the main focus on how your reaction, and then make sure that whatever action you take is from calmness as much as possible, because you're not going to be able to take away all of it, but as much as possible, make sure you have as little distortion, tension, friction, dukkha as possible, and then take action or discuss with these people. Jack, are you happy? Are you content? Are you still searching for it? You've been searching in the monastery. Am I happy? Most of the time, yes. Always? No. Are you content? Most of the time, yes. The funny thing is, lately, when I've said I've been having challenges, no. So it's content. All of these things fluctuate, you know. Like right now, it's been not so much. But generally speaking, yes, I am pretty content. It's rare that I feel bad, which is why this last month has been really strange for me. Are you still searching for it? No, I most certainly am not. You've been searching for it in the monastery. I'm not searching for anything that is supposed to happen, as in some kind of knowledge. The only thing I do is observe this distortion and see how much of it I can let go. And it seems like that's just getting less and less and less. And it seems, is it called deductive logic, that if you keep going down that path, then eventually there would be nothing left to let go of. So that would be liberation in my opinion. Alex Poten is saying, I can't attend the sessions on time. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Alex. You were here last time, weren't you? I think you were. Yeah, you can watch the replay, but it's nice to have you here now. Smoke Bear the Pup, do you believe or like the notion of Brahman or universal consciousness? Not really, no. Because it's a philosophy. If you say yes, this is true, there's Brahman, there is a universal consciousness. Let me come up with 5 explanations why you're wrong. One, the easiest one, is not true. It's actually just like the matrix. We're all connected to machines, and that's just the bleed through of the programming that you're feeling. You're just numbers, digits, 1 and 0s. So that's what people call Brahman or universal consciousness. Or let's see, come up with something else. Actually, it's not, because we're part of a big ecosystem. We're actually we're a cell in a entity and a human body. So it's not universal consciousness. It's just a big organism that we're part of, and that's what you're feeling like seep through when you feel that. Third explanation would be that no, actually what you're feeling is your past life or other lifetimes that you have experienced before. So when you're connecting something, it's not actually universal consciousness, it's your past lifetimes. Fourth one is too easy. It's actually not that. It's your future lifetimes that you're feeling. And the fifth one, what you come up with? Feeling something outside. Well, instead of universal consciousness, let's say that what you're actually feeling is the negative energy from a black hole. And that feels like you're connected to something, but it's actually black energy from a black hole. So, they're just as true as saying that there's universal consciousness or Brahman. And again, I'm not saying it's not true and there isn't a Brahman or universal consciousness. I'm just saying, if you tell me that's true, I said I can come up with 5 other explanations. You might think they're dumb, but if an alien came here and listened to us, he'd say like, well, I don't really know which one is most true. So I hope you understand where I'm getting from. It's not to offend anyone. It's just my way of saying there is no point in spending too much time discussing this stuff. If you believe it, then keep it. That's fine. If it helps you to feel better, then use it. If it doesn't, then just don't use it. Phobon, why do you breathe so much while meditating? What do you mean? Do I breathe a lot when I'm meditating? Or do you mean that when I do the counting, I do 1? That's I say that during the meditation. That's just to emphasize that it's an in-breath or out-breath. Otherwise, I don't think I breathe much. Maybe I do. Everyone breathes. Maybe I'm misunderstanding the question. Smoke Bear the Pup. I feel honored to have my name recited by a former Buddhist monk. You should be. You should be. Smoke Bear the Pup. What do you mean with numbers and data? Do you refer to simulation theory? I don't remember when I said numbers and data. And no, I'm not referring to simulation theory. Mindful Mama, haha, well explained about how everyone has their beliefs and how it's not important for your way of practice. Exactly. That's the thing. This is my way of practicing. It doesn't negate and say that those things are not true. I'm just saying for what we're trying to do here, which is to remove the sense of self, it is simply not important. I'm sorry, but I just got so much pain in my throat. It goes down, so I don't actually think I can talk much more, even though I see even more fun questions come out. It was really nice to see everyone again, and I'm sorry if we have to cut it short, but we'll continue again on Thursday. And Thursday there's no guided meditation, we just sit together, which is really nice and relaxed also. And there are questions and answers and these wonderful discussions, so I'll see you all again on Thursday. Thank you for a nice session.